So have you ever thought something about life that turned out to be untrue, maybe about a certain person or a certain situation, that something was happening and then found out it wasn't true? This used to be my life constantly, all the time. Yo guys, this is so in this video I want to talk about storyline. It's the narrative plot line going on in your head about all the situations, all the circumstances, all the feelings, all the whys and why nots that have gone on in your day and throughout your life. So what's the storyline? It's us telling ourselves that something has happened because of this. It's gone that way because of this. This is going to happen because of this. And you know what? All of this is imaginary. It's all a projection in our head. It's sometimes false, sometimes it's true. But you know what? We all do it, and some of us could do it a lot less. So I'm still not free from storylines, but even me saying that in itself is a storyline. But for the most part, I clock onto them more. I see when I'm telling myself a negative or false projection about life and how it's happening. And it took me going through huge battles with anxiety, huge battles with depression to really work out that these are all storylines, and I did it constantly, all through the day, every day long. This is happening because of this, she's done that because of this, oh, I'm gonna feel like this and this is gonna happen. And it was all BS, belief systems. Storylines made my life unbearable, like to the point where I wouldn't want to go out, because as soon as I had the thought about going out, I told myself a lie about what was gonna happen. And to the point where I then wouldn't move, I wouldn't make action because of these storylines I was telling about my life. So storylines were the biggest flaw in my life, or the biggest detriment to me about who I was as a person. They didn't let me live and be who I wanted to be. They made me suffer, but then I made myself suffer because I believed my storylines, which, as I said, were just false. So after I became more conscious of the fact that I was telling myself storylines all day long, I was kind of left with, okay, I can see these are storylines, I can see most of them are untrue, but how do I start to deal with them? How do I start dismissing them? And in the way of just becoming more conscious of the fact that you're telling yourself a storyline lets you be more conscious about your life. It starts to let you see your thoughts more and more and more and start to determine, is this true, is this real, is this serving me, does this benefit me, or is it holding me back? And is there any proof that this is actually happening? And without realising the fact that I started becoming more conscious of my storylines I was telling myself, and actually starting to say yes or no, is this true, or is this serving me, is it benefiting me? I actually started doing a type of meditation or a type of practice called Nadi. And this is literally looking at every circumstance in your life and saying yes or no, am I this, am I not this? And that was a great way of starting to declutter mixed vibrations, mixed energies, mixed thoughts about my reality. This practice of simply going, no, that's not true, yes, that's true, it helped me start to look at my brain more and more, my thoughts about life, and it started to let me have a bit more freedom to say, no, that's not true, I'm not gonna fall for that one again. You told me so many lies about this situation, you know what? It's not true, it's imaginary, it's false, it's my conditioning coming up against me. It's a storyline told over and over and over again that I've started to believe is true. So Nadi now was the first way of starting to deal with storylines in my life, and the second way was just starting to become more silent, become more meditative, to stop needing to tell a storyline, to stop going to that place in my mind which was to just start being more in silent. And this started letting me get into the moment more. It started letting me actually see life for what it was, just to be silent, just to observe, just to watch without adding something to it. And this adding is where all the anxiety, depression, the false narratives come from. So for a long time, I literally tried just to be silent. Anytime my mind would pop up, it was, no, just bat it away. That was all that was needed. And that, along with the Nadi, yes, this is true, no, that's not serving me, no, that's false. Silence and that were the most powerful things to start seeing through false narratives about my life. And over time, just like telling yourself a storyline about life, deciding to, or conditioning myself to look at storylines and be more reflective on them and not believing them straight away, to be more dismissive or more conscious of them coming up. That became the habit of seeing my thoughts, being more an observer to them, not to identify with them. So those two processes are still techniques I implement now and have greatly benefited my life. They've made me more conscious of me on the daily and made me start to recognize who I am more and more from sitting in silence and dismissing what I am and what I am not. And yet, just like any habit, they're hard to get into, but if you do it enough, you'll start to see the benefits from them. Your brain works like a computer, and situations trigger an electrical response in your brain where it chucks up that vibration or that emotion, which is translated into a thought which you can either say yes to or you can say no to. But it's that moment of when the electron gets fired and you're in that moment where the thought comes up. It's that little brief second where you can take control and go yes or no, or completely refrain from it. So conditioning can help you out or it can screw you up, but you know what, you can also recondition your brain to be more in control of the way you want it to be, to have a better operating system, one that has a safe measure in between where it goes And over time of conditioning yourself to be more effective of your thoughts, more effective of your storylines, to be more in silence, this becomes more hardwired into your brain. It becomes more your go-to, or the mechanical mechanism that is, rather than the identify with false or positive storylines in your brain. So what are the benefits of not telling yourself a storyline? You become less identified with the old beliefs you have about yourself. If you constantly keep cutting through that cycle of this is because of this is because of that, you become more free in yourself. You get to be more in a moment, you get to be more silent. Your brain won't have as much as chat about it. It won't chuck you up with random stuff. Your mood will be more stable. You won't have the ups and downs of daily life where you're good because this is happening, or you're negative and you're feeling down because of this happening to you, someone being against you, anything like that. You'll get to be more in control of your vibration. You'll get to actually define your reality in such a more powerful way of saying, I just want to feel bliss. I'm not affected by a storyline that's completely false being chucked up to me. I'm not going to believe those lies. I'm just going to hold and be present with life. Let life express itself to me. You get to have better conversations with people. You won't be judging them halfway through. Your brain won't be going, you know about this. You'll just get to be present with them, which then in turn makes you a better listener. You'll seem more caring, you'll be more caring because you'll be more understanding, because you've actually taken in the words they've said rather than run a false storyline over the words they've said and defined how they're feeling in a different way to how they actually are. Not telling yourself a storyline will let you just sit in silence more and more. It will be the peace, it will turn into the bliss. You'll get to experience life for what it really is. Just infinite consciousness expressing itself to one another in pure love. And that's it. Yeah, sometimes negative things will happen, but you know what? Someone can slap you in the face, but it's your reaction to being slapped in the face that determines how you feel about it. And that's a hard one to get, but look at a child when it falls over. It has that moment sometimes where it doesn't know whether to laugh or it doesn't know whether to cry to mum. It's that little moment where it goes, yeah. It's like its brain trying to process something. It's that moment of defining stuff that we can all take control of in our daily life and not look at a situation to define us, but to define it in our own way. Let you have more power in your daily life to hold your vibration, to keep a steady focus on what's important to you, and it will let you see your state of being for what it is. And really, you're in control of your state of being. The more and more you get rid of a negative storyline, the more and more you can start to hold whatever emotional state that you want in a day. And I think that's the best part of not telling a storyline, is you can hold any vibration or any emotion about your day however you like, because it's not impeded by anything else. You can be having the absolute worst day ever, but if you're not telling yourself a storyline about it being a negative, it's all positive, and you're just going to be able to smile. Simple as. So I don't think we'll all ever be free from storyline, but becoming more aware of the storyline we tell ourselves on a daily will allow us more freedom to determine life in the way we want. And that's the main thing, especially when you're trying to create a reality. To be able to determine it in whatever way you wish. To not be believing false storylines is absolute freedom. So become more aware of your storylines, start seeing them for what they really are, and start determining life in the way you want. Because we all have that choice, but most of us are conditioned to not think we have that choice. This has been thanks for watching just a little video on storylines. It's been a huge part of my life, one that I'm so glad to be seeing through and starting to be able to take more control of in my daily experience. Thank you for watching. Peace.